We're going to continue adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials with these special products here. One special product we have is the sum and difference, another is the square of a binomial, and another is the cube of a trinomial, or cube of a binomial. This should be cube of a binomial. So if we look at this first example here, 4x minus 3y times 4x plus 3y, that would be an example of this sum and difference. So the answer should be a squared minus a b squared, basically. So when I look at this, if I were to FOIL or distribute 4x times 4x, I would get 16x squared. 4x times 3y is plus 12xy. Negative 3y times 4x is negative 12xy. And negative 3y times 3y is negative 9y squared. So when I look at the middle, the negative 12xy and the positive 12xy cancel out. I get a 16x squared minus a 9y squared, which is basically just each of these terms squared. 4 squared is 16, x squared is x squared, 3 squared is 9, y squared is y squared. So it ends up being the sum and difference. If I look at this next one, this is the square of a binomial. If I look at this as a square of a binomial, I should get a squared plus 2ab plus b squared following this square of a binomial pattern here. Now this only works if there's a plus sign in between. So since I got a minus, what I could do is change this to plus a negative 5y. So my a term is 2x and my b term is negative 5y. So all I have to do is everywhere I see an a, I just replace it with a 2x. So I put in parentheses 2x squared plus 2 times a, which is 2x, times b, and b, I'm going to replace that with a negative 5y here, plus b squared, which is a negative 5y, and in parentheses squared. So now all I do is just do the math. So 2 squared and x squared. So 2 squared is 4, x squared. Now I do 2 times 2 is 4, times negative 5 is negative 20, and I go x times y. And then here I got a negative 5y, and then I want to square that. So negative 5 squared is positive 25, and y squared is y squared. So this is how you square a binomial using a special product pattern. Now, what could we do instead of using this special product pattern? Well, all we have to do is just square the binomial. So if I were going to square it, instead of doing 2x minus 5y squared, I could do 2x minus 5y times 2x minus 5y. And then if I were to FOIL, I would still get the same answer down here. So let's try the next one. 2a minus 1 in parentheses cubed. What that really means is 2a minus 1 times 2a minus 1 times 2a minus 1. And you saw in the last video how you can FOIL the first two and then take that answer and distribute the third one and overall get your answer, which is fine. Or, since this is a binomial cubed, we can go up to this previous page and look at how we cube a binomial. So if there's a plus sign, it looks like this. If there's a minus sign, it looks like the bottom one. So what I could do is I could just take the a plus b in parentheses cubed and use that top formula. Because I can use that top formula just by saying, hey, let's make that a plus and then change that to a negative 1. So now my a is this 2a part, and my b is that negative 1 part. So it's a cubed plus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared plus b cubed. So everywhere I see an a, I just replace it with 2a, but I put the 2a in parentheses. Everywhere I see a b, I'm going to take that b, which is a negative 1, and put a negative 1 in parentheses. So instead of a cubed, a is now 2a, so I put 2a cubed. Instead of b, I put -1. And I just replaced all of that. Basically, it's a formula. I just replaced all those letters with the appropriate number or term from the given expression in the beginning. Now, once again, I told you I could have just multiplied those three like I did on the previous page, but we're using the formula instead. So you want to cube. 2 cubed is 8, a cubed is a cubed. Plus 3 times 2a squared, so we're going to square the 2, square the a. So it's 3 times 4a squared times -1. Plus, now we're just going to square the -1, so that's 3 times 2a times +1. Plus, now we want to cube the -1, so that's a -1. Now I can actually do the multiplication. 8a cubed stays 8a cubed. Plus, now we can multiply 3 times 4 times -1, so that actually becomes a minus 12a squared. 3 times 2 times 1 is +6a, and plus a -1 is just -1. And that's how you can cube using the special products formula.